Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, going to be talking through some of my favorite MLB player props on Prizepicks for today, for Wednesday, July the 13th. We do have a full slate of games on Wednesday. I think we actually have 16 games today, have another doubleheader. We do have some early games today. I'm not really going to focus on those just for the sake of this video, more so going to focus on the night slate and all the games that we have at night. But we do have some early games. I'll probably take a look at the board once again on Wednesday morning. I'll try and find some props that I do like in these early games, and if I do find any that I like, I will share those over on Patreon. As always, if you guys enjoy these YouTube videos and if they help you out and you want to get more Prizepicks plays from me, you can check those out over on Patreon. It is linked down below in the description. But we'll talk through the plays I like for today. I found 3 props that stood out to me, taking a first look at the board on Tuesday night. Just before we talk through our plays for today, we can recap Tuesday. And Tuesday, sadly, was not a good day. We did have a good day on Monday. We did go 3-0, had a clean sweep Monday, but Tuesday was definitely not our day. Right now, it's looking like a 1-2 day, but we don't exactly know our full results yet because at the time I'm making this video, the Astros and Angels game is still going on. And we did take the over 6.5 fantasy score for Kyle Tucker. Right now, Kyle Tucker has just 2 fantasy points, but he's expected to bat at the top of the 9th inning, so he could get a double or an RBI single or something and somehow go over his fantasy. But right now it's not looking great, looking like a 1-2 day. Probably going to miss on Tucker. We'll have to see, if he comes up to bat, what he does in the 9th inning. But we missed on Darren Ruff, took his over 6.5 fantasy score, and he only finished with 4 fantasy points. But that was a tough play, man, because, the Giants, I love the spot for the Giants. I expected the Giants to score a lot of runs, and they did just that. They scored 13 runs. Dallas Keuchel gave up like 7 or 8 runs in only 3 innings. He got beat up. And unfortunately, Darren Ruff didn't really contribute to those 13 runs. He went 0 for 2, had a walk and a run scored, and again finished with 4 fantasy points. He also got pulled from the game at the top of the 7th inning. They brought Mike Yastrzemski in for Ruff, and Ruff was expected to bat at the bottom of the 7th inning, and he missed out on an extra plate appearance because they pulled him from the game, which was something that I did talk about in Tuesday's video. I thought there was a chance that Ruff would get pinch hit for. And it did happen, and he only got 3 at-bats, and just had 4 fantasy points. But if you told me before the game started that the Giants would score 13 runs, I would have felt really good about my Darren Ruff over fantasy score play. And Darren Ruff just didn't contribute to those 13 runs really at all. So that was annoying, but we did hit the over on Chris Sale's 4.5 strikeouts. That was a play that we did hit. Sale pitched 5 innings, had 5 strikeouts, went over for us. But again, Tuesday was not a great day. I'm looking, for a bounce back day on Wednesday. So we'll talk through the 3 plays that I like for Wednesday, guys. Just before we get started, hit that like button. If you have not yet, hit that subscribe button if you are new here. And also, if you have not checked out Prizepicks yet, definitely get over there, sign up, use promo code NOAH, and Prizepicks will match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. But yeah, guys, let's talk through Wednesday's slate, kind of focus on more so on the night games. And I got 3 props I like. So first off, we're going to start off with the strikeout props, and I got 1 or 2 strikeout props that I do like for today. This stood out to me at first look, and the first one that I like for today is going to be JT Brubaker, and we're going to be taking his over 4.5 strikeouts going up against the Marlins. So JT Brubaker, he's a pretty solid strikeout pitcher. By no means is he an elite strikeout pitcher, but he does have a 22.5% K rate this season. And this is a matchup where you can get strikeouts. The Marlins, when you look at their stats on the year versus right-handed pitching, they're about middle of the pack. They rank 16th in K rate versus righties, 22.4%. But they have been striking out more lately, and that's something that I always reference. When I talk about strikeout props, I do want to look at the team's K rate, over the last 30 days, last 14 days. And over the last 30 days, the Marlins are inside the top 10. They have the 7th highest K rate, 23.4%. So they've been striking out more lately. When you look at their lineup individually, really the only hitters that don't strike out are Joey Wendell. He's got just a 9% K rate this year. He's a very tough guy to strike out. John Birdie doesn't strike out a ton, 17.4% K rate. And then Miguel Rojas at the bottom of the lineup, he has just a 10% K rate this year. But every other hitter is above 20%. 21% for Jesus Aguilar, 24% for Jesus Sanchez, 26.9% for Avisel Garcia, Brian Anderson, 29% K rate, Brian De La Cruz, 20% K rate, 23% K rate for Jacob Stallings. So there are definitely strikeouts in this Marlins lineup. We talked about Brubaker. This season has a 22.5% K rate. And so far this year, Brubaker has made 17 starts. He's gotten at least 5 strikeouts, so he has gone over his K prop for today in 10 out of those 17 starts. And it's also worth noting that Brubaker's really been getting strikeouts lately. He's had at least 5 strikeouts now in 6 straight starts. So I think this line at 4.5 looks pretty appealing. I think Brubaker can get us 5 Ks against a Marlins team that does strike out a good amount versus right-handed pitching. It's going to be tough for him to strike out guys like Wendell and Birdie and Rojas, but I think those other 6 hitters, there's definitely some Ks there, and Brubaker's a good enough strikeout pitcher that I think he can get us 5 strikeouts for today. So I like his over 4.5 Ks as our first prop for today. And then our second prop is one that I like a lot. It's probably my favorite of the 3 plays that I'm on. This line really stood out to me when I first looked at the board. Love this one quite a bit. Over 6 strikeouts for Luis Severino is going to be our second prop for today. And I think the reason this line is so low is just because Luis Severino, his strikeouts have kind of dipped a little bit. Over his last few starts, he has not gotten a ton of Ks. He faced Houston, a pretty tough matchup, only got 4 strikeouts. And then in his last start against Pittsburgh, it was a really good matchup, one that he should have gotten a lot of strikeouts in. He only got 3 Ks against Pittsburgh, so maybe that's why his K prop is so low for today. But, man, Luis Severino, I mean, he's an elite strikeout pitcher. He has a K rate close to 30% this season. He's got I think it's 27.9% strikeout rate this year, and he's really been striking out a lot of righties. That's something that, if you look at the difference there, 18.9% K rate against lefties. Against righties, 34.5% strikeout rate for Severino. And this is a Reds team that rolls out a lot of righties. Not right now, their projected lineup for Wednesday, it looks like it's going to have 6 righties in it. The only lefties are going to be, or actually 6 righties. The only lefties expected in the lineup are going to be Joey Votto, Tyler Naquin, and Mike Moustakas. They're going to have 6 righties in the lineup. We talked about how Severino, you look at his K rate this year versus right-handed hitters, 34.5%. And the Reds, as a team, they strike out quite a bit on the season. When you look at Cincinnati and where they rank for the year, they are top 5, 5th highest K rate, 24.1%. And even over the last 30 days and the last 14 days, Cincinnati's been striking out even more. They actually have the 2nd highest K rate over the last 30 days, 26.2%. And over the last 14 days, Cincinnati, again, 2nd highest K rate, 30.7%. So this is a matchup where Severino should be able to get plenty of strikeouts. There's plenty of Ks in this Reds lineup. And I think this line at 6 just feels way too low. I mean, I feel like worst case scenario, Severino gets 6 Ks and he pushes this line. I have a very good feeling that this line is going to go up to 6.5. It might even go up to 7. I wouldn't be surprised if you see a bump of full strikeouts. So I wanted to get on this one, early. I usually try and get on all these plays early, as soon as they post the picture board. So once I saw this is one that I knew I was going to be taking. Love it. Probably my favorite of all the 3 plays I'm on for today. Over 6 strikeouts for Luis Severino is going to be our second prop for today. And then our third and final prop, we're going to go to pitcher fantasy score. And this is another one that I like quite a bit. This was one of my Patreon plays I gave out Tuesday that did hit was Christian Javier not Christian Javier, but Luis Garcia over fantasy score. And Luis Garcia pitched a really good game against the Angels. I'm liking Christian Javier's fantasy score against the Angels. This is just such a good matchup. I mean, the Angels this season have been striking out a ton. They lead the league in K rate this year versus right-handed hitters, 26.8% strikeout rate. And one thing that's worth noting that's kind of important is that, in that game on Tuesday night against Houston, Mike Trout actually had to leave the game. I think it was back tightness that pulled Trout from the game. So there's a possibility that Mike Trout might not be in the lineup for the Angels. Now, it is worth noting that Mike Trout has actually been striking out a lot this year. He's got a 30.5% K rate this season against righties. But, Mike Trout is still an incredible hitter. He has a ton of power. He's just a guy that can always, if you get in a scenario where there's 2 runners on base and Trout comes up to bat, I mean, he can hit a 3-run home run, anytime. But Trout has been striking out more lately. I think it's still obviously a massive boost, though, to Javier if Trout is not in the lineup. So that'll be something to keep an eye on. Even if Trout's in the lineup, I think it's just such a good spot for Javier. This Angels team just strikes out so much. There's so many guys in this lineup that have super high K rates. Really, the only hitter in their lineup for tomorrow, at least their projected lineup that doesn't strike out, is Luis Rengifo. Everyone else has a K rate above 20%, 22% actually. I mean, Marsh has a 33% K rate, Max Stassi 32% K rate, Jared Walsh 32% K rate, and again, Trout, we talked about, he's been striking out a lot more this year. And Javier is an elite strikeout pitcher. He's got a 34% strikeout rate this season. He actually did just face the Angels pretty recently, and he had a dominant start. I think he had 70 fantasy points in his most recent start against the Angels, went 7 innings, had 14 strikeouts, gave up just 1 earned run. I think that was a solo home run that I think Ohtani hit that game. So, yeah, I mean, Javier, he's been pitching incredible this year. He's been a great pitcher, and he's got a ton of strikeout stuff. And obviously, this is a matchup where he should be able to rack up Ks. He should be able to pitch pretty deep into the game, probably get a quality start. I think he can get a win as well. So that's the one reason I do like his fantasy score. And if you look at his strikeout prop for today, Right now, his strikeout prop is set at 7.5. I have a hard time seeing Javier get 8 strikeouts, go over this prop without getting 37 fantasy points. And for what it's worth, Javier, every game this year where he's gotten at least 8 strikeouts, he's gone over fantasy score. He had 14 strikeouts against the Angels, 70 fantasy points. 13 strikeouts against the Yankees, 70 fantasy points. He had 9 strikeouts against Cleveland, had 50 fantasy points. 9 strikeouts against Texas, had 46 fantasy points. And then I think he still has some games where he's gone under, 7.5 Ks, but he's still hit fantasy. So that's the one reason that I like his fantasy for today and not strikeouts. I could still see him getting 8 Ks, but I think it's more likely that he gets 37 fantasy points just because he could get a quality start. Might only give up. I don't think this is a spot where we should expect Javier to give up a ton of runs. He probably only gives up like 1 or 2 runs, maybe 3 runs. Even if he does give up, 2 or 3 runs, I think he'll be able to get enough strikeouts to make up for it. Hopefully he gets, a quality start. Maybe he gets a win too. Like there's a lot of paths to Javier getting us 37 fantasy points today and going over this fantasy score. So this is what I'm liking for a Wednesday slate, guys. Again, it's a big slate. There are some early games today. Didn't really want to touch on the early games in this video. I'll definitely take a look at the early slate, though, and more tomorrow on Wednesday, and try and find some props I like for that. I'll post those on Patreon. If you want to get access to my additional Prizepicks plays, you can check out the Patreon. It is linked down below in the description. But hopefully we can have a better day Wednesday. Obviously Tuesday was not the best day, but we're gonna bounce back Wednesday. I do like these plays. I feel pretty good about these plays, and this is definitely what stood out to me the most when I first took a look at the board on Tuesday night. So again, guys, wish you the best of luck tonight if you are tailing. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, I hope it helped. Hit that like button before you do get out of here. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. Again, check out Prizepicks. Make sure to sign up for Prizepicks. Use promo code NOAH. Get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. But good luck tonight, guys. Thanks as always for watching. Hope the video helped. Hope you guys enjoyed. We'll see you in the next one.